Hi guys, welcome to another episode of our Archicad tutorials. My name is ArchGPT, and in our last session we did an introduction to Archicad's interface. We took our time to go over the screen and did an overview of every icon we found on the screen, and I promised that we were going to elaborate on each when we begin the tutorials proper. So for this session we are going to be looking at project settings and units. If this is your first time coming across my video, click on the subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you can get updated on subsequent posts. Also, please watch till the end, and if you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section and I will go over it and make a video or address your concerns personally. Alright, also if you find this helpful at the end, do well to like, comment or share to as much as you feel need this knowledge. It could be your friend, it could be your colleague, it could be your boss, it could be a family member, whoever you feel needs to upgrade their BIM skill. Feel free to share this to them. Alright, without wasting much of your time, let's head right into the business of the day. So, project units or project settings and units. First of all, before you begin any project in Archicad, you have to be aware of the units you are using to design, because it has to do with the scaling of the project. Now, for every default Archicad launching, it is automatically set at meters. And how can you see that? You can see that when you go to your bottom left corner, or the bottom right corner of the screen here, you can see plain meters. That is to show you that our current workspace is set to plain meters. So if you are fine drawing with or designing in meters, which is the metric system, then you can go ahead and leave it at plain meters. But if you feel comfortable with the imperial system, which are the feet, inches, and minutes here. So if you are okay with the imperial system, then it's no big deal. You have to just go there and change it to what you need. But right now, working with the metric system, we have plain meters, plain millimeters. But for the imperial system, you can see US architect, US builders, US detailing. Now everything US there is imperial. I hope I'm making myself clear, because those are just the two groups or categories of measurements in construction. If someone is not measuring in the metric system, they are measuring in the imperial system, and the metric system has to do with meters, millimeters, centimeters, decimeters, and so on and so forth. Whereas the imperial system has to do with inches, feet, minutes, and so on and so forth. So that's it. Now, if I want to draw in millimeters, I could just, if I want my project to be measured in millimeters, I can just click on plain millimeters and my workspace will be measured in plain millimeters. Now, note that these are just dimension units. not actual working units. There's a difference. Dimension units is when you dimension your project. How should it appear? I'll do a quick explanation using some of the elements here. Now, for that to happen, let's quickly draw two walls. Let's draw two walls. So to draw a wall, click on the wall command, which is already highlighted. Now any command in the toolbar that you see with highlighted blue, know that it's the active command. So with the wall command active or activated, you just click on your screen and go to the endpoint and click. So I'm going to elaborate on wall settings very well, but right now we are dealing with dimensions, so let's not go into wall settings yet. So I draw maybe, now let me type a distance 11,000. Another one, let's use 6,000. 11,000. So I just do this, and I want to tell you the difference between this and your working units. Now this is in millimeters, so if I dimension it, how you can dimension is let's minimize the design bar and we go to the documents bar. So you see dimension as the first command in documents bar. So you click on dimension. I'm going to explain to you how we set dimension very soon. So you click on dimension, click on the first edge you want to dimension. If it's there, one, come to the next one, click on there, and so we have 2 points. First, we remove it from there. We need it here, not there. I don't need it here. Okay, sorry, escape. I need it here and here. So when I'm done clicking on those 2 points that I need my dimension to start and end from, I'll right click on my screen and press OK. So it will now tell me where do you want to place the dimension line. So I'll go a little distance further and place my dimension line. Now notice how this is 5,950, whereas I measured 6,000, if you can remember. That's because of this little excess here, more like a wall finish. So if I should measure from the actual point where the wall starts to the actual point where the wall ends, I think I'll be having a complete 6 meters. Oh, it even added extra 5. So now those are little errors because I have not set my wall properly. So we are going to cover that before the end of this video, so stay with me. Now what we are talking about is dimension units and working units. Notice that if I change my dimension units to meters, this dimension is going to change. You see 6.050, 5.950, but it's in meters now, that's why it's in 6 points. But if I change it to millimeters, have you seen the point changes to comma? So the point changes to a comma. So now if I should change it to US Archicad, notice that it's going to change. Okay, so US Architects, US Builders, US Detailing. So US Detailing is just in inches. US Builder fits inches and minutes. US Architects, the same thing. Metric system, millimeters. metric system millimeters and that's metric system millimeters and meters. Yeah, just that's that. Now these are dimension units. Let me show you how to change your working unit. Working unit, remember that time I was drawing a wall, and when I click on this wall and then this unit, the unit on the screen, what you are seeing, what you are seeing right now, if I should click, if I should think I'm working with meters and then I say 4.0 meters, it's going to draw a very tiny wall which is even negligible. But because I'm working with millimeters, I have to write 4,000 millimeters, which makes 1 meter. So do you understand? Now for us to change our working units, you have to go to option. Oh, okay, no, I don't think it's there. Let me check. You go to your options, project preference, working units. So that's our working unit. Now remember what happened when we tried to draw a wall in meters while we were working with millimeters. Now watch this. If I change our working unit to meters, as you can see, we have meters, decimeters, centimeters, millimeters, all in metric. Then for the imperial, we have feet and fractional inches, feet and decimal inches, decimal feet, fractional inches, decimal inches. So let's concentrate on the metric system. So now if I make our working units meters, and the rest is okay, because this is area unit, volume unit, angular unit, layout unit, and so on and so forth. They are okay, because layout unit is in millimeters, angular units decimal degrees, which is okay. Yes, decimal degrees, we don't need minutes and seconds because we are not surveyors. Cubic and volume units, cubic meters, that's okay. Area, square meters, that's okay too. So the rest is good. Then you can also specify the decimals you want to leave it at. If you need your dimensions to have some decimals at the end, you can specify it here, but it's not advisable because you don't want to go that detailed when you are setting out, except it's a delicate structure that needs too much precision. So now once I've set it to meters, I can click OK. Now notice what is going to happen. You remember that we drew this little wall in with 4, hoping that Archicad is going to know that, oh, we mean 4 meters, but then it didn't, because our working unit was in millimeters. So let's do the same thing now. We are going to draw a wall and write 4 again. So now if I write 4, watch, have you seen? This is because our working unit is set to meters now. Now say if I want to now draw a wall and I say, okay, let me type 4,000 millimeters, so that Archicad will know that, oh, I did not mean meters, so I mean millimeters, because of one reason or the other. And I type 4,000, just like this one, just like this first one here. I type 4,000 and I press OK. Now this wall is going to be very long. We'll be looking for the end of the screen. Okay, look at this. You see how long it is. So in essence, your working units or your project units has to be specified. Your project unit has to do with your working units and your dimension units. Notice how we are working with meters, but our dimensions still remain in millimeters. Do you understand? Our dimension remains in millimeters because our dimension unit is still set to millimeters. Our working unit is now in meters because we have set our working unit to meters. Do you understand? Okay. Please, if you find anything that is unclear, make sure you drop your question in the comment section, and I will go over it and address your concerns in our next video. Either I'm going to address it in our next video, or I am going to address it in the comment section with a link to the personal answer to your question. All right, let's go right back to it now. I hope that's clear enough. Secondly, we are going to look at story settings. So let's look at story settings. Now, story settings has to do with the number of floors that your project will span to. It doesn't necessarily mean a complete floor on top of your current story. It just means the different levels at which your project is going to be based on. Now, if you go to your right side of your screen, to the project navigator, it's navigator. So if you go over to the right side of your screen, you will notice this interface. You just click on that home icon, and then this interface will pop up. The first one you see here, it's show/hide navigator. The second one, project map. The third one, view map. The last one, layout book. So that's what it is. The one that is active right now is the layout book because it is highlighted with light blue. But right now, layout book has to do with your sheets and organization of output format. The 1 second to the last has to do with view maps. That has to do with how you view the different aspects of your project. Now, if you click on it, you can see that it contains all the different sections of your project on default. The one beside it by the left is your project map, and this is where we are going to have your story settings and all the things proper. So that's it. And this is a general navigator to switch the navigator interface from one form to another. So we are going to expand on it subsequently as we progress, but right now we want to go into story settings. So how to view or edit your story settings? You just click. Let me delete this first of all. Now, our story settings, you click on the project map, right click on it, and you see story settings at the end. So story settings has to do with the distance from the base to different points of the building. Now, have you seen that our numbers are just individually single numbers? That's because our working unit is still in meters. So before we progress, let's go back and change our working units to millimeters so we do not confuse ourselves. So let's go. Options, preference, working units, millimeters. Okay, I hope that's simple enough. So we can leave our dimension unit in millimeters or change it to meters, anyone you feel is best. Right now we are going to story settings, so click on the project the navigator, right click on any of the stories. It could be this, it could be this, it could be this. So you right click and then you left click on story settings. So now you can see that it is having a lot of zeros at the end, which shows you that it's in millimeters. Remember before it was 3, 6 and so on and so forth. Now it's 3,000, 6,000. So let me explain to you what this means. Now we have, by default, we have 3 levels. We have 3 levels: ground floor, first floor, second floor. Let's assume those are their names. Now for the ground floor, it starts at 0, which is the natural ground level in our term. The first floor, it says, it starts at 3,000 above 0. Now see, have you seen height to the next 3,000? So height to the next, if this height to the next is 3,000 plus this 3,000, it's going to make the next one, the next level, 6,000. So from the ground level, let me explain it through the elevation. Let's go to the elevation and check what. So let's see, one elevation, that's south. This is the ground floor, which is at 0. The first story, which is at plus 3,000, and the second story, which is at plus 6,000. Remember how we got to this point? That's the south elevation. In the project navigator, we just double clicked on south elevation. You could use any other elevation, still the same thing throughout. So that is it. When you set your dimensions or your distances to a customized value, you automatically have a customized output in your elevations. Now for a typical build bungalow, we should be having natural ground level, DPC level, ceiling level, lintel level, ceiling level, and roof level. So that's 5 levels for a typical bungalow, but most people choose to make it 4, which is just natural ground level or assumed ground level, DPC, ceiling level, and roof level. Some people even just make it 3, but the more the levels, the more you organize your work better. So let's use basically 3, or sorry, let me use 5 for the sake of the newbies. So let's assume our 0 is our natural ground level. Now from natural ground level to our DPC, for a bungalow, let's use 450. I'm not going to elaborate why, because we are not in architecture class, we are in Archicad class. So that's right. All right. If you want me to give you specific trainings on architecture, slide in my DM and we can talk that out. Now from the natural ground level to DPC level, I have set it to 450. Now for the DPC, let me change the value to DPC. All right, so for my DPC height to my lintel, the lintel I should be using, I think I need a high lintel, so I'll use 400. Now from my lintel level, so the next level here will be lintel. So my lintel level to my ceiling should be 600. So 600 plus 2400 makes it 3000. Where should I put this lintel? Well, it's optional. Excuse me. It's optional, so I'll just take it out. Then let me insert another level above it. So the level above it is, while I take it out, I have to make this 3000, or I just delete it at once. Let's delete this. Delete story. So that's how to delete story. Click on the story and click on delete. It goes off. So now this should be my ceiling level. So from my ceiling level to my roof is, let's just, okay, it should be 450, or let's use 600 anyway. Let's use 600. It's no big deal. It's nice like that. So now we can insert the last one, which is our roof level. We can make it 4500, or however you feel. This one doesn't really matter like that. So click OK. Some stories are being deleted, so it's okay. Just click that and we are fine. Now if you go to your south elevation, you will see that this is what happens. Natural ground level, DPC, first story, second story. Let me rename them well. Story settings, ceiling, roof, ceiling level. Alright, so that's it. Ceiling level and roof level. Now when we draw, go to your DPC or however it is. Now when you draw, if you want to draw a wall, you click on wall, you go to the wall settings and make sure that it's starting where you want it and ending where you want it. If you click on wall settings, make sure it's starting at natural ground level and its top is ending at either the ceiling level or the roof level. So let's go roof level. Now you click on OK. You have to make sure you set all your materials and your perimeters and specify the type of wall and so on and so forth. Remember, we are having issues with the dimensioning of those walls. So how we are going to correct it now is by setting our wall properly. To set your wall properly, after setting the base level and the top level, you can go over to your right, click on this structure, basic structure wall. Now if you are using a different kind of wall feel, you can go and select from the options here. So right now we are in generic structural, which is this, but if you want to use masonry structural, so this is it, masonry structural, because that's what most of the architects use. So you can just click on masonry structural, then make sure you specify your wall thickness. Right now it's in 300, so you set it to either 225 or 230 or 150. 225 and 230 is the same thing, it's just that there's always that little error when molding blocks. So same thing with 150, so you can set the block thickness to 150 or 225, but for a bungalow basically we use 150 millimeters thickness. because we are working with metric system. For if you convert those units to imperial, that's 6 inches blocks. Then for the 225 is 9 inches blocks. I hope you understand. So 150 millimeters, that's okay. Now this is good. Alright, the rest you can leave them like that. If we are going for an advanced feature in the wall, then we'll tweak those things, but right now we are going with the basics. Now remember to set your materials for the walls. If you turn them on, you have to set your materials for the wall. So this is for one side, this is for the top, this is for the bottom. So yeah, this is on one side, this is for the top, this is for the other side. So there are 3 as sides of a wall as opposed to 4. So we have the face, which is the external, the top and bottom is the same thing, is regarded as the same thing in Archicad. Then the inside is another material. So that's what we have here. So I can say, okay, the first side should be paint white, the top and bottom another material, while the inside a different material. But if I want all the materials to just be uniform, because I just don't need to stress so much, I'll just link them up using this link surfaces. So if I click on link surfaces, all of them becomes my first material. If I unlink it, it becomes what it is, what it was. So just note that. So I click that. Make sure you check these 2 icons. I will explain why later, but always make sure you check these 2 icons before you start drawing. So leave everything as they are and click on OK. Now if we draw a wall at let's say 6,000 and 4,000, and we decide to measure it, you will see that it's going to be exactly what we specified. So close the design tab, click on dimension, and let's measure. Click on one edge, click on the ending, right click on it at any point on your screen, click on OK. Then place the dimension where you want it to be. As you can see, 4,000 on a dot. Let's do the other dimension, 6,000 on a dot, and that's because our dimension unit is in millimeters. So if I swap that to meters, see we're having 6.0. Also, I can change the decimal points in meters to something small, lesser. So if I go to our working units, dimension units, let's check if we have dimension units here. Yeah, dimension units. And if I change the decimal places to 2 or 1, watch, let me use 2. So if I change it to 2 and rename it as meters, remember, if you don't rename it, it's going to be as custom. Well, let's leave it as custom for the meantime. Now click OK. Have you seen? So our dimension unit is at a custom something. Now it's not added here because I have not saved it. So if I save it, it's going to be an option there. Let's go there and save it first. Let's see. Dimension unit, that custom, let me save it, store as my meters. So my meters is different from plain meters. So my meters, okay, now we have a unit named my meters with 2 decimal places, and the extra accuracy, I turned it off. You can turn it on if you want to do a detailed drawing, but there's no need because you are dealing in whole values. So okay, So we have my meters 6.0 and so on 4.00. So 2. This works when you are doing a site plan dimensioning. I don't know if you are following. So that's it. For the next thing we are going to be looking at is our grid system. No, okay. Let me show you how it looks like in our elevation. So you see that the wall started from natural ground level and ended at roof level. Do you see? If I should draw another wall, let's draw another wall first before we get to another topic. If I should draw another wall, I click on the settings and make sure it starts at DPC and ends at ceiling level. Watch. Let me draw something. 5,000. Let's say it's not shown in this level because I am in natural ground level. That is why it's not going to be shown in this level. So let's go to our DPC. So this wall we've drawn is now visible on the DPC level. Yeah, so when we draw another one, still with the same settings because we've not changed it obviously. So 3,000, let's say 3,600. Hold on, are we still in DPC? No. As a result of the last operation, these are okay. Let's see what's going on. So which level is this? Oh, okay. So when we are in the DPC, let's check the settings first. Okay, make sure that your settings is properly set. So it should begin at current level and end at where you want it to end, ceiling level. So okay, and then let's draw 3,600. So you see that everything worked out nicely. 5,000. So ending it. Now if you go to your elevation and you will notice that this is the first block I did, this is the second block I did. Let's go to our 3D and look and check how the boat looks. So as you can see, this obviously looks taller even if it's farther away, and this looks shorter although it is closer. So we orbit it and we see what's going on. That's it. So how you orbit is you right click on your screen and select orbit. So you can always also use this point, this icon, to orbit. So if you click on that icon, you can orbit. It's the same thing as right clicking on your screen and selecting orbit. So take note, when you are done, you click on escape, or you go there and click on that icon to turn off the highlight, or you can still right click and turn off the highlight here. So that's it. Right now, let's not pay attention to this. So go to your DPC level, and this is what we have. 2 different block enclosure, but on different levels. I hope we are all following. Now let's go to the last thing. I think it's the last thing we have to do to wrap this tutorial up. Grid system. So now most people prefer to work with grids, most especially when you are doing a high-rise building, Now Archicad has given that feature that you can set grids on your workspace and customize them to the values which you want to use in your drawings. Now, without wasting much of your time, let's go right there and see what it is. So if you go to this place, you see that it is not highlighted, meaning that none of the commands is active. So if you go to that arrow just beside it, click on it and click on construction grid, you see that your screen is now covered in grid lines. And if you try to measure from one point to the other, you notice the distance. Although if you try to do that now, you will not be able, so it doesn't snap to each point. But you can see that this is around 2000. Yeah, it's around 2000, 1099. So let's snap our joints to the points. So if you click on that arrow and click snap to construction grid, it's going to, whenever you hover around there, it's going to snap to the nearest grid. So as you can see, there's one little point there. Yeah, that means it's snapped there. So I click, you see, do you see? So do you see? So it's just going to follow the grid lines to, draw my wall. So this is 2000, we were not wrong. This is 4000, this is 6000. So if you want to be working specifically with grids, you've seen that you can have that feature turned on, and then you have your drawings snapped easily. So that's it for grids. Now if you want to customize the distance of this grid, you should go to design, grid system, and then this is everything you need to know about the grids and how you can customize them. I'm going to take my time to go over one after the other very soon. Alright, okay, so the dimensions, as you can see, can be customized. They can be changed. Now notice how before our grids were snapped to 2000, but right now if I should change this to, let's say, 3600, and I think, okay, 3600, and all right, let's see what that does. Okay, that is to set a default grid system. Check this out. So that's it. Yeah, that's a default grid system. So I'm going to take my time to explain the grid system in a video on its own. Yeah, but right now you can see the different aspects of project units, project settings and units. So if you found this helpful, you can like. So right now we've looked at the different aspects of project settings and units, and so far we've covered project units, we've covered story settings, we've covered grid system, and we've covered working units and dimensions. If you find any area that is unclear, please specify in the comment section and I will address your concerns. Also, if you found this helpful, do well to like, share to as many friends as you know need this knowledge upgrade, and subscribe. Turn on your notification because I'm going to be dropping more mind-blowing tutorials. Alright, that's enough for today. See you in the next one. Bye.